Most people think that the name Zeus comes from thunder, lightning, or the sky, and that it is a fairy tale. But in fact, it's philosophy. The ancient Greeks were never that superficial. The name Zeus hides one of the deepest ideas in the entire Greek worldview. That the cosmos becomes real only when the one becomes two, and when the two are joined together by a living principle of unity. The Greeks encoded this in the very letters of his name. Today we will uncover what Zeus actually means. The name Zevs comes from the root Zev, and the same root as the verb zevgnimi, which means to join, to yoke, to bind together something. Zygos is the yoke that unites two opposites and also balance. It's the very act of harmonizing. So Zeus is not just the god who throws lightning, he is the god who joins things. He is the principle that holds the world together. The cosmos is only possible if energy, matter, and meaning are bound into relationship. Zeus is exactly that binding. 2. Zeus and Zin, the living force. There is a second root hidden in his name, Zin, which is to live. In Doric Greek, Zeus appears as Zan or Zas, a form that directly reveals the link to life, but also Zesi, which means warmth and heat. So for the Greeks, life was not merely something biological, it was vitality, motion, breath, the very spark that animates form. So the name of the highest god carries both meanings, to bind and to give life. Zeus is the force that unites and animates the cosmos. 3. Zeus, Dios, from unity to duality. Here's the part that almost nobody notices. The name Zeus, in its different grammatical forms, changes as it enters relation. It becomes o Zevs, the nominative, to Dios, the genitive. So we have two radically different forms, and this is not an accident. It is metaphysics in grammar. The nominative, Zeus, expresses the one, the unified principle. The genitive, Dios, expresses the power, the relation, the duality through which the one becomes active in the world. So Greek grammar is telling us the cosmos begins when unity becomes relation, when the one becomes two but stays connected. That is Zeus. 4. Deus and the European lineage. Most people hear Deus in Latin and think that it is unrelated, but the root is the same. Dyēus, Deus, the bright one, the luminous sky, the sky father, that is Zeus, because Zeus has a second name that is not often used, and in Greek it is Dευς, and probably where Dios comes from too. So in Latin it became Deus. Many Greeks today actually call Zeus Dias, and originally it expressed the radiant principle of order. 5. Deo, Devo, to knit, to mix, to saturate. There is a great linguistic relation in the two Greek roots of Deo and Devo. Deo is to bind something, to tie something together. Deome, it's to need something, to long for something, to wish for something. And Devo is to wet, to soak something, to intermingle. So we have these three meanings. 1. Binding. 2. Desire and necessity. And 3. Saturation. So all these three are expressions of one single principle, connection, the act of making two things one. So the full chain is Ζεύς Διός, Δευς Deus, not Sky Father, but the luminous force that joins, animates, and orders the world. That is the metaphysical logic behind the name of Zeus. 6. Chaos Titans Zeus, the birth of order. Now let's place the name inside Greek cosmogony. The world begins with chaos. It's the gaping opening, the unspoken one. It is not disorder, but it is pure, infinite, and eternal potential. From chaos arise the first dualities. We have earth, sky, night, and eros. And then comes the age of the Titans, massive raw powers without measure. The Titanomachy is not just a mythical war or a fairy tale, it is the moment where unformed power meets the principle of form. And when the dust settles, Zeus establishes metron, which is measure, diki, which is the right order, evnomia, which is good governance, and cosmos, cosmos means an ornamented order. Only at that point the world becomes cosmos, because only now relation becomes harmonious. 7. The meaning of Zeus. So what is Zeus? Not the god of thunder, not the father of gods and men. Zeus is the very joining principle of existence. It's the force that unites opposites, animates life, and turns chaos into cosmos. So his name encodes the entire Greek metaphysics of creation, from the one to the two, from the two to harmonious relation, and from relation to cosmos. So Zeus is the very bond of being. Before we close, there is something essential to understand about the Greek gods, something that will transform the understanding of the entire series of videos that I'm planning to do into a single united vision. The Olympians are often presented as a family tree, but for the ancient mind, this genealogy was not just a list of relatives, it was a map of reality. Every Greek god is a dynamis, which means a fundamental force of the world, and at the same time, a potential force within us. So their relationships, parents, children, siblings, are relationships of energy, how movement arises from stillness, and how harmony emerges from conflict, and how life itself unfolds from form. When you place Zeus at the top, Hera beside him, and then Poseidon, Hades, Demeter, Hestia, Apollo, Artemis, Ares, Athena, Hephaestus, Aphrodite, Hermes, and all the minor deities, you're not looking at mythology here, you're looking at a whole neural architecture. It's a fractal network where each node expresses one mode of existence and all together generate a complete cosmology, both of the universe and of the human psyche. Because for the Greeks to understand the world meant to understand the self. And the gods were the bridge. This is why beginning with Zeus matters. He's the central binding principle. It's the junction from which the entire network becomes intelligible. As we move through each episode, Hera, Poseidon, Demeter, Athena, and so on, we are not just explaining myths, we are reconstructing the ancient diagram of consciousness. It is a cosmology from the outside and a cosmogenesis from the inside. So the whole Pantheon is a living system. It's a map of the forces that structure nature, culture, and the human soul. And this map begins with Zeus. If you want to understand the Greek gods, you have to begin with their names. The Greeks hid the structure of the universe inside their language. So next time we will dive deeper into the subdivisions and we will explore Hera, the goddess whose name reveals the mystery of presence, season, and the rhythm of time.